That's a big population. That's
what it's assessed.
And that's what they should have. Earthquake would take out the bridge. Cuts us off. There's only one way to get to Anchorage through supplies, because supplies can't leave Anchorage.
Gotta.
Excuse me, gentlemen. We're gonna go online here.
Oh, so you interrupt our conversation?
Sorry. That's how it goes.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Folks, we're gonna go live. The April 14th, 2026 regular Planning Commission meeting is called to order. The time is 6:01 p.m. Before we begin, commissioners, please put away cell phones. If you have personal business during the meeting, please move for a recess. If you are participating telephonically, please mute your phone unless you are speaking. Also, when speaking, please state your name for those streaming the meeting. As a reminder to attendees, this meeting is being streamed live. The camera is located in the back of the council chambers above the clock. Will the planning clerk please call the roll?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. Commissioner Stafford?
Present.
Commissioner Brown?
Here.
Commissioner Langell?
Here.
Commissioner Seals?
Here.
Commissioner DeYoung is absent, and I don't believe it's excused, but Commissioner Seals, you do have a quorum with Commissioner Stafford, Brown, and Langell in the chambers.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Stafford, will you lead us?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item of business is approval of the agenda. Before changes are discussed, are there conflicts of interest to declare? Hearing none, are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing no changes to the agenda will stand as presented unless objection is raised. Next on the agenda are reports. Do we have a report from our Public Works Director?
Good evening, Planning Commission. Eric Shaw, Public Works Director, standing in for Deputy Administrator Nygaard. We have a pretty light agenda for you tonight, and looking forward to just assisting you tonight as necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a report from our city attorney?
No comments, Chair.
Thank you. Tonight, we do have a report from my house. Name for the public.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Isaac Smolden. I am the Communications Director at my house.
Excellent. We're looking forward to your report.
I'm looking forward to being here. Thank you for the invitation. As I'm sure many of you know, we're in the process of building our additional building, the Carson Cottle Center, located at 800 North Wasilla Fishhook. I wanted to start this evening with a quote from Calvin Coolidge, because it's hanging on my boss's whiteboard. It's been there for a long time. It's, "I favor the policy of economy, not because I wish to save money, but because I wish to save people." And I'm here specifically to talk about how this building project influences economic growth here, not just in Wasilla, but in the Mat-Su Valley as well. I think a great example of this is Sam, who I got permission from to share a bit of his story at our daily hot supper club that we have at the drop-in center. Sam is a longtime client. He came to us when he was 17, 18. He was adopted. His biological family was not in the picture. And Sam struggled for a lot of years, mental health, substance abuse. He got involved with our program. He ended up going through one of our job training programs, was in our housing. And in that process, he made the decision to engage in treatment at True North Recovery with their Vita Nova program after spending some time with us. Sam graduated Vita Nova. He was able to work a job while he was in outpatient housing. He had spent time in our cafe, and so he got a job right down the street here at the Chop House in Wasilla at Lake Lucille Inn. And Sam was there for about 2 years. He was working back a house, a good career. It was the longest he had ever held a job, was at the Chop House. And as Josh said a couple weeks ago when I was telling this story, then he quit. And the reason that he quit is because Sam now works for our treatment program, the only youth treatment program in the state of Alaska for individuals ages 18 to 25 in the state of Alaska, as one of our residential peer supports. And he's able to give what he got back to the young people that we're working with right now in treatment. And I bring that up because I think it's the perfect example of what we want this building to accomplish for our community. You know, the goal of the Carson Cottle Center is not just to add more beds. It's not just to add new programs. It's not just to add new office spaces. This is a place where we are inviting the community in to gather and fellowship with us, with our clients. It's giving us the opportunity to show our clients rather than tell them that this is a community that values them as individuals and that believes in their individual capacity and ability to be successful and to build a life in this community. There is a great study, and I apologize because I wasn't able to find the exact location, but there's a lot of studies that show when you are able to help individuals break out of these generational cycles of trauma, these generational cycles of poverty, of substance abuse, and get them into not just a place where they're surviving, but into a place where they are thriving in this community, where they have families, they're shopping at local businesses, they're going out to local restaurants, they're working in our community, that it has an exponential effect on our area and our business community and our environment that we create out here in the valley, which I believe is the greatest place to live in this state, work, play, and live, right? So I'll talk a little more about the building now and go into some specifics. Carson Cottle Center was started in 2022. It's the result of a federal appropriation that my house received, $23 million, which covers the entire cost of building the building. That money cannot be used for any additional programs within. Originally, it was planned to be 45,000 square feet. The new design is 33,000 square feet. When the steel tariffs hit, we had to make some cuts. I'm very proud that we involved our youth board of directors at that time, and I'm proud to say that we did not lose any programs out of that space or any beds out of that space, any residences. We have a few less conference rooms than we originally planned, but we are going to be able to provide the same amount of services that we did, that we had planned to from day one within the Carson Cottle Center. So we are very far along in this process. It's been a lengthy process to get to this point. There was the purchase of the property in 2023. We had to spend a year clearing, doing all the necessary surveys, but we've arrived to a point where steel was put in the ground last November, and we're expecting a completed building here this December, which means that we will have clients that are able to have housing within the building, and we will have staff that are providing services out of the building and businesses on the ground floor. I just talked a little bit about the construction timeline. This is a more complete picture. The kind of key dates within the last year were summer 2025. That's when you had the grading. You see that picture on the left-hand side. Those are those kind of cornerstone pieces of structural steel coming out of the ground. It's incredible how fast the team has accomplished everything. That picture on the right is from just a couple weeks later. So already within a month, they had kind of the full skeleton built out. In February of this year, we poured concrete pads for all 3 floors. And right now on that timeline, there's a gap. We're in between that February 2026 and summer 2026. Some stuff that's happened in the last couple of months is the framing on the interior building on the 2nd and 3rd floors is just about complete. When I was up there walking through, you can go through each individual room on the 3rd floor. You can go through each individual room on the 2nd floor. When we've had delays and we've had a pretty tough winter weather-wise with 3 major windstorms that have shut down work, the Waterson crew and our local subcontractors have been extremely flexible. They've shut down the site when they've needed to for safety, but they've also, when the temperature has dipped, found ways to keep progress moving forward, even if they weren't able to do a concrete pour on a certain day, for example. So everything is on time, everything is on budget. And what we're doing right now, what we spent the last 3 years doing is getting the funding in place and building out the programs that are going into that building. That's why a year ago we launched our treatment program, Jeff's Path, is because we really want to hit the ground running with this project. We don't want to be waiting another year and have this space that's not being utilized to its full capacity. For 15 years, I think this organization has heard the needs of our clients, and we want to find a way to say yes when they ask us to help solve a problem from them. It's all about removing barriers so that they're able to go out and be successful, right? And what's really exciting for me, I've been with my house for 4.5 years, is this building is going to allow us to say yes to a lot of questions that have been sitting unanswered for the last couple of years. So when we're talking about economic development, going back to that through line, we're very proud of the fact that we have a ton of local crews that are working on this building. We have a ton of local businesses that are working on this building. Again, a goal from day one was we don't want this to just better our community in the long run and be a space where we're providing these services, where we have these community events. We want as much of it as possible to go back into the local economy. So I have a list of contractors that have been out there. The Waterson team has been using a ton of local guys. They are just consummate professionals. They're doing a great job. One of the things that I really want to highlight that I think is a cool element is that we've had 4 clients in our program, graduates of our program, that have worked on different elements of the construction. In fact, I can't point out which 2 it is because that will get me in trouble. But in that picture in the bottom left, there's 2 clients of my house that are part of that concrete pour. So again, we wanted from day one, how can we involve the local community, but especially the folks that we're serving in this process. And the guys and gals, because there is one gal that is on that crew that have been a part of this construction process, are immensely proud to be able to be building. You know, literally, we talk about, reaching out and bringing the next group along with you. We have a third of our staff as former clients at this point, but this is our clients literally building the space and the programs for the next generation of folks that we're going to be able to help. And I'm super proud of that. Our youth board of directors, our governance board of directors is super proud of that. And it's something that we're going to see continue here in the next couple of months. I know we already have a couple more that are getting ready to graduate that are on deck. So our goal was 12. Right now, we're confident that we're going to get pretty close to hitting that goal of having 12 individuals that are part of the My House program that are on those teams. When I talk about our services as a whole, I like to use a 3-legged stool analogy. So stabilization, support, and then the exit strategy, right? Our goal is never to just provide you with a bed or just provide you with a hot meal, although that's certainly something that we're doing. It's how can we, get you out of this crisis, provide you with the support to treat those underlying causes of your homelessness or addiction, and then get you to a point where you have the job skills, you have the confidence, you have the all the keys you need to be independent and go back into the community and be a part of the Mat-Su Valley. So there are two key ways that the Carson Cottle Center helps us with that continuum. One is the redemption program. The second floor short wing is actually able to be completely isolated. It has a separate door there, and we have 16 beds that are exclusively for survivors of exploitation, whether that's sexual exploitation, domestic violence, abuse. Right now, there is no program in the Valley that, again, is specifically for youth that provides them with a residential level of care where they can have a primary diagnosis of needing mental health treatment, mental health support. This is going to be really important because, as I'm sure many of you know, the hospital is getting ready to, is already in the process of building a new wing for acute services. So those high intensity crisis services. What we want to be able to do, and what I'm really excited about, is we've had this relationship with the hospital for a long time. We've been strengthening that partnership because we want folks to be able to go from there, that hospitalized setting, get the support that they need at that high level of care, and then step down into have a warm handoff, step down into a level of care that meets their need, that allows them to work on the pieces that they need to be working on. You see that right now with our current treatment program, which is a substance use primary program, where we've had multiple kids get their GEDs. We've had multiple kids get their driver's license. For this population, it's so important that they are working towards some of those basic pieces that you and I would take for granted, graduating high school, getting your driver's license. They want to know that they're making steps in the right direction and making progress on their goals while they're dealing with, the trauma, the processing what they need to process, healing from what they need to heal from. And so that program inside the Carson Cottle Center is a big piece for us. It's going to allow us to fill a gap that is a big gap in our community right now. And it's going to allow us to bring in folks from outside the, other areas of the state too. 60% of our clients are from the Mat-Su, but 40% or more, depending on the month, are from Anchorage, or I think it was 20% last month, they're from remote Alaska. So, this is, again, a center point where we're inviting people in, and we want those folks to go back to their communities if they want to, but if they're healthy and doing well, we want them to stay right here, and we want them to make our community a better place as well. The other gap that we're going to fill is the under 18 crisis program. Right above that second floor, there's the third floor. Obviously, I don't know if I needed to say that, but you have that with the ability to be separated out as well. I said that for you, Commissioner Seals. I just wanted to make sure you were still with me. We have 8 under 18 beds on that third floor that are crisis beds. What happens right now is we have over 40 beds of housing across treatment in our transitional housing programs, but we can't house anyone under 18 we go up to 26. And we wouldn't want to house a 15-year-old with a 23-year-old. You don't want that cross-pollination. So, and the state doesn't want us to either, rightly. Occasionally you get the opportunity to house a 17-year-old with a parent-to-parent or OCS permission. But just last week we had the troopers, we have this 15-year-old in crisis. They have nowhere to go. We could do an intake. We can provide some basic services. We don't have the housing piece. And so when this building is complete in December, we're going to be able to have that piece in place and start to say yes to those calls, get those folks stabilized, get them, provide them with that opportunity to step down away from that crisis and then direct them to where they need to go. Therapeutic foster home placement, the ARCH program through Volunteers of America, and VOA has been a great partner. They're actually going to have staff members on that third floor providing recovery high school services and other under 18 crisis services. So that collaboration piece is big, and that's a big gap in our community right now that is going to be filled when this building is complete. All right, this is the exciting piece, right? Because a big part of what we do at my house has always been the job training piece. And when we're talking about, the reason why I asked Sam if I could share his story is because I think it's a great example of what we want this building to do and how that job training is that third leg and provides that exit strategy, right? It provides that person with the knowledge that I have value, I am capable of being independent, I'm capable of being a part of our community, right? So we have 3 new job training programs as of right now, certainly the possibility for more. The main one, or the main 2 that I'll highlight are the River Beauty and Hair Salon, which is on the first floor, short end of the building, open to the public, just like all of our current job training programs are. That is something that we've had a lot of demand from clients for. We have a lot of folks. Michelle tells a great story. Young man that came in from the village and said, you mean I could go and learn how to give people haircuts? Because where I'm from, there's one person that gives haircuts. It's so-and-so's grandma, and every single person in town has the exact same haircut. And this was several years ago. He ended up going and getting training with a local partner and got his hair certification, barber certification, whatever it is. But that's a career pathway that multiple folks I've seen in the last couple of years want to pursue. In fact, you can tell I'm due for a haircut. The last one I got at Great Clips, it was a former client that cut my hair. I think we have 2 folks that are working over there right now. So again, listening to the needs of our clients, this is a career pathway that a lot of them have wanted to explore. We're going to be able to provide that in-house. And it also gives us an excuse to invite community members in, gives them a reason to come to the building, to interact with our clients, to see some of the other services going on. That's the beauty of our drop-in center, right? When the mayor and Councilwoman Cottle come in for coffee with the mayor every Tuesday morning, it is showing our clients in the building that this is a place where we're valuing your ability to be a part of this. When they order a coffee from someone at the cafe, it's a lot more than just ordering a coffee, right? So we really wanted to create on the ground floor that exact same atmosphere. The Wild Iris Kitchen and Catering, same line of thinking. I think the big piece to highlight here is we have our cafe, great barista training. You can get your food handler's card. We've had so many folks go through and do great things out of there. I think Sam's a great example of that. But what we want to provide in this space is a really purpose-built back-of-house experience. We got 64 beds in here. We got a lot of great treatment partners here in the Mat-Su Valley, a lot of great recovery partners. They all need someone to do catering for them. And there's a lot of businesses that do trainings that also need catering done. And we've brought along Josh Broda from the Chop House from Settlers Bay. He's helped us with the menu. He's helped us design the space. He's helping us with all of the planning for this. And he's been an amazing partner. What we want to do is streamline that process where folks can go in, get their training there, have all the equipment in place. We're very close, hopefully, to securing funding that we need to finish out that space and have all that commercial kitchen equipment so that folks get their training right here in the building where they might be staying or that's under our umbrella. And so they can go out and work in all the fantastic local restaurants that we have out here. We've had a lot of clients have a ton of success with working those entry-level positions and building a career off of that food working, that back-of-house experience. And we have a lot of folks that are really interested in going to work in some of the higher level restaurants that we're getting here in town. So this is going to be a great pathway for that. I think it's really going to support our local business community. When I'm talking exit strategies, this is kind of again, going back to the main through line. We're talking about upward mobility for folks that are coming from these generational cycles of trauma, abuse, poverty. What we are able to do with this building is exactly what we're doing with all of our other services now, but on a increased scale. And that's going to make the Valley, even more than it already is, I think, a hub and a destination for people to come and heal, to come and grow, and then to come and stay and live and support our local economy, support our local business community. We make the Mat-Su a better place when we support our young people. Like I've been talking about with those job training programs, those graduates of those job training programs boost our local workforce. Those individuals go from someone that's relying on public assistance in our community to someone that's contributing to the folks that need it the most in our community. These are folks that, they break the cycle for them. They're also breaking it for their kids, for their grandkids, to the third and fourth generation, right? This is something that creates exponential change for those people's families. And I think most importantly for us, and it is very important because we're getting ready to hire a bunch more people as we get ready to step into this building. Those graduates come back and work for us and help us with the next generation that needs our help, right? Like I said earlier, just under a third of our current employee base are former clients and graduates of my house. We have more peer support workers working for my house than I have seen in the last 4.5 years, with all of the folks that are in residential treatment, all of the folks that are just working as crisis peers out of our drop-in center. And what's really cool to see is the building has been packed for the last 3 months, and it more so than I've ever seen it in the last 4.5 years of working there. And it's because when we add these pieces, when we start to plug these gaps, the crisis peer situation is a perfect example. It's stopping these folks from falling through the cracks. Since we've added crisis peers, we have had a lot of folks that maybe would have flamed out and needed more intensive care elsewhere, or left the program, that got the stability that they needed and have stayed with it, stayed in the program, that are going to graduate. We have 3 folks getting ready to graduate from treatment just this month, which is the most we've had in a single month since starting the treatment program. And this building, it's increasing our beds by 60%, but most importantly, it's increasing our staff and it's increasing our opportunities to say yes when our clients tell us that they have a need. With that, I will leave you with a quote from Adam Smith. It is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but for their regard to their own self-interest. And I think what we've seen from our business community is not only a desire to support our youth, because we are a caring community that want the best for our young people. But what I've heard from our business community is that we have their support because they see how this makes it better for them. They see how this betters our local economy, how it betters our business community. And I think that in the next couple of months, we are going to continue to have opportunities to create pathways for this young workforce that is in the prime of their life and getting ready to make some big steps, go right into our local workforce and make this a better place to live. With that, I will ask if any of our fantastic commissioners have questions.
Chairman. Not so much a question, but just a thank you for what you guys do. I work for a national nonprofit and do in-prison programming. And we know in Alaska, the DOC budget right now is about $120,000 per inmate incarcerated per year. And you guys, through what you're doing, are diverting young people out of that pipeline to prison and giving them a second chance before it has gotten too tragic. And so I just want to say thank you for all that you and everyone there and all the hard work you guys put in.
We appreciate that. I'm very proud to report that for the last 1.5 years, our peer support workers have been going into DJJ once a week and leading groups. And that is certainly a population that we want to continue to provide supports for, as those young people that have ended up in DOC or DJJ custody.
How will you continue to use the current facilities?
It's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Our current drop-in center will stay exactly where it's at. Both of our businesses that are in there will continue to operate out of the drop-in center location. And we want that to continue to be a day one landing pad for clients. It's in a great location. It's right down the street. It's very approachable. It's right off the highway. And it is very nondescript. And I think that provides us with a lot of advantages when working with the population that we work with. We certainly will be using the entirety of the new space that we are getting with the staff that we're already starting to onboard, and the space for folks to have residential care. But our drop-in center will continue to function and be a hub that can help direct people to that building for more intensive care or for just crisis beds. I think the ground floor and the additional businesses that are coming on board, having the cafe, the salon, the People's Paper and 95.5, the Pass will also have their offices there. That's fantastic. But the biggest thing that it's adding is that second floor with all of those spaces to house folks. And we want there to be a smooth transition between. We don't want you just stuck in one place or siloed in one place. We want you here, then we want you, walking out into the sunshine when it's April, or providing you transportation on the bus to the drop-in center to receive the case management services, get out and about, interact with as many people as possible. It's less of a replacement and more of a diversification, I would say.
Okay, thank you. Good job.
Commissioner Brown, so what does your future look like as far as finances? All the money you got went to building. How does it look for the future to support these programs, some pretty aggressive programs you're talking about?
It's a great question. We are very blessed to have one of, I think, the best CFOs in the state, in Debbie Bitney. And a big part of this process has been figuring out how we make this sustainable, right? We are all about sustainability for our clients, and so we like to practice what we preach. When we started our treatment program, that has allowed us to begin to bill insurance providers for services, obviously for treatment. That's how any treatment provider pays for what they do. But once we got that certification, it's allowed us to bill for services, peer support services, transportation, group sessions that we've been doing for 15 years. And that has allowed us to, ramp up all of these other programs to get into that building day one. To address your question on, how we keep this sustainable, a big piece is having those local business partners that are renting space from us that will help us cover the cost of utilities. And when we did financial projections for the treatment services in there, as well as the bed space that's in there and the groups that are happening, our models show us that at 60%, we are significantly more than sustainable when it comes to the financial, I don't want to say burden, but the expense piece that it adds to our budget, right? And for context, our current programs are operating at about an 85% capacity. So we are extremely confident that we are ready to make that transition, and we'll be able to not only keep that building sustainable, but use any increased revenue to continue to add programs both inside and outside the Mat-Su Valley.
Yeah, Commissioner Seals, I really appreciate all that you do for the Valley. You are, and your cohorts are very committed. I've been watching this process for the last 15 years, and several of my own children have used the place as a way to move on in their lives in a better direction. So, but what I really like is the fact that we have mixed use. We have residential, we have commercial, and it's all happening in the same space. And I think that is what's going to be part of Wasilla's future, is a lot of mixed use in the areas that we have left. So thank you very much for your dedication and Now I know what a third floor is.
Thank you
I've
for
only
those.
been in construction for 40 years. I always thought that was just another floor.
Thank you for those comments, Commissioner. I think you hit the nail on the head. And one piece I'll add that I didn't talk about is that first floor has that 200-seat auditorium space as well. For you saw a picture of it a couple slides back. That's it set up in conference mode right there. And to have that space to use for trainings or have community members rent it out is great. But having a sober environment that can provide a 200-seat auditorium for music performances, the lawn space out front. We're not an organization that sits on our hands, and we are already, our youth board, our governance board, our staff are already hard at work brainstorming all the ways that we can use this space to invite the community in every way possible. So I think that your insight on what we want this to look like is exactly what our clients, what our board and what our staff hoped for when we applied to get the chance to build this building.
Yeah, as been a planning commissioner for a long time, I like to see a small square footage of space grow into many possibilities rather than just one single possibility.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you all.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you very much, Isaac. We are now at persons to be heard. A time for members of the public to share their views with the Planning Commission. This is not a question and answer series or period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken under advisement by the commission or administration. Anyone wishing to speak may step forward at this time. Welcome. Please write your name and contact information on the sign-up sheet. When you're finished, state your name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Stu Graham. I'm a city resident, also a elected representative of the Wasilla City Council, but I am not here today to talk as a representative of the City Council. I'm here to talk as a resident and a property owner here in town. So yesterday, on the 13th of this month, I received this notice in the mail. I think you guys should have received this too, because code requires it be sent to commissioners talking about redevelopment or development of a property, and it's going to need a conditional use permit to do that. That's the way it's supposed to work. I mean, we're supposed to get these notices in the mail if we live within 500 feet, or actually the borough says 1,200 feet of the property. We should get these notices in the mail, and we should have time to reply. City code says that they need to be mailed out 10 days prior, but it takes 3 days to get this. So now people are getting this on the evening of the 13th, which means they're able to do anything on the 14th, are now supposed to provide a written comment by the 21st of the month, which is what it says on here, which is also per code. So far everything's per code. But what isn't happening per the code is the completion of the application. The application should include a site plan. I should be able to go to the planning office and be able to pull up a site plan so that I can make comments based on what's here. I mean, what's here is nothing. What's here is something that says, hey, we're going to develop this piece of property. In this case, they're talking about 6.5 acre piece of property, but it doesn't say how it's going to be developed. So this says, Stu, do some homework, find out what's going to be developed, and make some comments. Well, after going to the planning office, my neighbor was told there was no site plan to be shared. It had yet to be filed with them. But the code clearly says that the application is not complete unless the site plan is part of it. And how am I supposed to comment on something I don't know anything about? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Now, I will applaud the developer. He or she, it went out and posted notices, nice big notices, weatherproofed, easy to see on the properties that were out there. But you know what? They didn't post them on these properties. They posted them on these properties and on these 4 properties over here as well. So what is being considered? All I'm asking you guys to do is to look and say, this isn't being done properly. Postpone this thing until the information is available. Because I can't comment on something that says I'm gonna dig a hole in the ground. So that's all I'm asking, is to put this thing off until all the information is available to interested parties. And there are a lot of interested parties in any development.
I
Thank you,
want to
folks.
be very clear that the commission cannot consider what was just put before them. I want to put this in another context. I want to have you imagine a judge at a trial and an elected official coming to the judge saying, don't make a decision on this person's criminal proceeding, because I'm coming to you and in my personal capacity, so cancel the trial, right? That would not happen. It can't happen. So we cannot postpone a hearing based on a legislative request. And I want to make sure I'm just being very clear. I completely understand Councilmember Graham's,
I am not
Comments?
Councilmember Graham, I am Stu Graham,
but you are.
which is how I am signed
Under
in
the
and which is how I
Constitution and
introduced
due
myself.
process rights, you are. Like, we can't shed who we are when we start asking for things of this nature.
I'm asking for the
Based on
code to be
that.
followed.
So what I am saying is, if you are a neighbor, then we have a quasi-judicial hearing in which you are encouraged to participate in. You receive a notice and then you come and you participate in that process, right? And that's important, that you have equal access and participation. But under the Alaska statutes and under the code, we have a planning commission, and they have a duty to sit as the quasi-judicial body issuing decisions on these property rights of individual property holders. So in that context, we have to keep the lines. And so what we have to do is we have our legislative roles and we have our quasi-judicial role. We have hearings, and that is the time to participate as Mr. Graham, and if the council wants to have a say in quasi-judicial matters, they can pass a law that makes the appeal process go to council. You can have all of the power and the sort of insight and participation in the process that Wasilla wants to create, and that would be lawful. But what we have to be careful with right now, we are in a hearing with this agenda. We do not have this quasi-judicial hearing, which means these discussions and any considerations by the commission would be done outside the purview of the applicant and the rest of the participants. So we just want to, and I don't mean to sound like I am pushing back on Mr. Graham, because I think that part of what I hear is general comments regarding notice and dates, and that's another area where we can change the dates and shift the notice provisions under the code, and that's general. That's not specific to this project, but the comments that I'm hearing specific to the project, I would just say the commission is not going to consider those. We will need to talk about this when you have the quasi-judicial hearing, that there were public comments made regarding that hearing, and so that will become part of that.
And there should be,
up on appeal, because they're
it
hearing.
certainly should be up to the public to come forward and say the process was not followed, therefore the entire process is moot until it is fixed. I mean, this is an easy fix.
It's, again, if that is the case, those are issues to be raised during the quasi-judicial hearing. If you don't like the decisions made, then you have the ability to appeal. And the great thing about Wasilla is they have not foreclosed anyone's participation in that process,
They have not.
regardless of where they live. Meaning a person can appeal and participate, anybody. You don't even have to live within Wasilla, I don't believe. So that process is very, very open. So that's all I'm saying, but this is not the time, and so we need to, and it's hard to figure out how to do that, but when someone is talking about a quasi-judicial hearing matter, we now need to disclose that discussion, which is no big deal because it's public, so that's, but we need to frame it and put it back in our hearing box, and that box is coming up on April 27th.
In that
Through
case,
the chair, I'm sorry, the attorney has opened this up to discussion.
No, I have not. I have absolutely not opened it up to discussion. What I have said is you're not going to consider anything you've heard right now, but that you can consider it when on April 27th, and that we can then open it up for discussion. We can even bring.
I am
the-
not speaking to this particular CUP. I don't know what he's
Oh,
talking about
perfect.
there.
Okay, yes.
My
that I'll open
concern
up for-
is to have the attorney sit there and tell a resident that you can't shed your responsibilities as a councilman, therefore you cannot come and speak as a citizen. That is what you said.
What I am saying is you cannot violate our provisions for participation in a quasi-judicial hearing simply because you are a councilman. If that is not why you think that you're able to do it, then I think that to me, then we need to then say, come back April 27th and participate. That's all I am saying. I am saying that as a citizen or as a council member, April 14th is not the date we're going to have this quasi-judicial hearing. That hearing occurs April 27th. And so you cannot shed. So imagine the mayor he asked for a postponement of a hearing. What I am saying is that is a council member asking for a postponement of a hearing. And he can say he's asking for the postponement of the hearing as a individual, but when analyzing whether or not we have a due process right violation, if say the commission granted a postponement of a hearing, I can tell you that we will be arguing in court whether or not our elected official who called upon the commission to postpone a quasi-judicial proceeding did so. And so you can shake your head. All I am saying is that is the reality we will have to navigate. So let's not navigate it. Let's raise these issues in the space and the box that they were designed to live in. That's all I am saying. And I'm trying to say it as clear as I can, only because I don't want us to, sometimes with this type of thing, we gain momentum and they come back, right? Because because I don't say it clearly, or we don't put it back in its box clearly, and that has negative impacts for the community and for our quasi-judicial process. So all I'm saying is, we were very hopeful that Mr. Graham and maybe Councilmember Graham and all versions and representations of Mr. Graham
anybody have a hat I can borrow?
attend the hearing, participate in the hearing, but also, and this is the thing that I think we're missing, as a council member, there are real discussions to be had at the Diocese for Council because they craft the code and their role in the quasi-judicial hearings under that code. So there are other things to discuss here that might be a bigger conversation for one version of it.
May I have 60 seconds, Mr. Chair?
At this point, I would say yes. I have one comment. It is true that he is coming here as a citizen, but he does have that halo of a councilman around him, even though he's here as a private citizen. It is also our due diligence when we hear the kind of stuff that he has mentioned and what he has asked. We need to remember our quasi-judicial roles and either ask for attorney guidance or ask the chair to ask the councilman to come at the scheduled hearing, at the scheduled date, at the scheduled time.
And I so asked that.
And that's perfect. That's exactly how you would want to deal with it. And
That's how I kind of see it. We have a responsibility to listen to the public. We have a responsibility to listen to the public and their concerns, but we also have our role as judicial officials, so.
Yes, I think
We-
Exactly.
We
Everything
appreciate
will
you
be
being
good.
here tonight, and I will give you your 60 seconds.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So rather than get into a discussion with the attorney, which is not my point, I'm just going to ask that the council, prior to any quasi-judicial,
Oh, sorry.
that's okay, prior to any quasi-judicial thing, review the code and see what the code says. And, then you can make a decision based on what the code says, not based on what an applicant says or what a city council person with a dinged up halo says. So, but thank you for your time and thank you for your comments.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I request that you invite Mr. Graham back on the 27th to express his opinions to the council, to the commission at that time.
Mr. Graham, I would formally like to invite you to our meeting on the 27th to be a participant in our quasi-judicial hearing.
I shall polish my halo, but leave it at the door.
Thank you very much.
Next,
Will the planning clerk please read the items of approval under approval of the minutes?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. We have the regular meeting minutes for the March 24th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes as read?
Commissioner Brown moved to approve the minutes as
Is-
on the 7-1.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Stafford will second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Brown and seconded by Commissioner Stafford to approve the minutes as read. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection to the motion? With no objection, the motion passes by non-objection. Next on the agenda is legislative recommendations and actions. Will the planning clerk please read the item under legislative recommendations actions?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. Tonight we have resolution serial number 26-05, a resolution of the Wasilla Planning Commission recommending the Wasilla City Council postpone ordinance serial number 26-07 until phase 2 of the Wasilla Municipal Code Title 16 rewrite.
So well, I don't have an acting city planner to provide a report on this. Eric, do you have a report or?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a report for you. I believe this is the action of the planning commission. So I don't know if you want to lead a discussion on the document that you created, but.
Commissioner Brown, I move that we accept and forward the recommendation to the city council, RS 26-05.
Commissioner. Now, may I have a motion to approve the ordinance,
That's what I,
Resolution.
resolution.
resolution?
Yeah.
Is that what you?
That's what I just did. So you need a second.
Okay, I'll second. It's been moved by Commissioner Brown and seconded by Commissioner Seals to approve the resolution. Is there any discussion by the commission? Your lights on.
My only thought is we still have a phase 2 rewrite of Code 16. We're still waiting for the new comprehensive plan to be published. It just seems like this is very premature to make a pretty significant change to our code. Or, of course, we don't do it, the city council does, but to recommend a pretty significant change without letting those other processes play out first. So I would be in favor of asking the city council to postpone their ordinance 2607 until those other processes play themselves out.
You have anything? Commissioner Langell, do you have any comments or discussion?
No.
Well, I kind of see this whole thing, this is Chairman Seals, it's kind of a knee-jerk reaction to a problem that arose in how we have our commercial district put together. There are a lot of fingers in our commercial district of multi-use, multifamily, single family. So my thought was, rather than the commission flat deny this resolution, would be to run it through the phase 2, because we don't need a knee-jerk reaction. And I can see that we need to get to this phase 2 right away, because there's many things that need to be worked out. Just the simple one is the 1685-0110, non-conforming structures and uses. Doing a flat no residential will leave some properties hung out to dry that have been there for a long time. So I really would like the council to hold off on this until after we've gone through phase 2, and we can make a wise call, use wisdom, and make something that's going to work going forward in the city. And that's all I have to say.
Commissioner Lanchell,
Go ahead.
just for the record, it would be my recommendation and wish that this planning commission receives the rewrite or phase 2, whatever it's going to be called, prior to the expectation that we're going to pass it in one meeting. We need time to digest the changes, because I went over this, which caused me to start thinking, well, you're taking it out of commercial, where are you going to put it? Where it's going to flop over into RR. The whole code needs to be looked at. We can't resolve piecemeal. The whole code needs to be resolved, which is going to take time. Not getting a final product vote on this.
Chair, can I respond? Because I think it'll
Attorney
be,
Moss.
in line with Commissioner Lanchell's comments, the commission should remember that during phase 2, what could happen is an ordinance. It's within your authority to put forward an ordinance, to recommend an ordinance. So I know that you're already starting with presentations such as the one tonight. I think that was intended to be a start of phase 2, in a sense, start talking about uses within the districts. I believe that's what Deputy Administrator, Acting Planner was starting to do based on comments by the commission, which means that is one method for that to come forward. And even if council also works on one, even if that were the case, I think then there's a place for merger. And during the first phase, we did joint meetings between the commission and council that I think were really productive. So just to make it clear, your request is something that the acting planner can start working on, now, if that works for the administration.
With no further discussion, will the planning commission clerk please call roll call vote?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. Commissioner Stafford,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seals,
Yes.
Commissioner Langell,
Yes.
and Commissioner DeYoung is absent, but with 4 votes yes and 1 absent, the motion to approve resolution serial number 26-05, a resolution of the Planning Commission recommending the Wasilla City Council postpone ordinance serial number 26-07 until phase 2 of the Wasilla Municipal Code Title 16 rewrite is approved.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is quasi-judicial hearings, but we're not having one tonight. So we're gonna move to unfinished business. We are now at unfinished business, and with no unfinished business, we're gonna move right to communications. We are now communications. Would the planning clerk please read the items for approval under the communications into the record?
Thank you, Commissioner Seals. Tonight we have 10.1 permits and licenses issued March 18th, 2026 through April 7th, 2026. 10.2 code violations, March 18th, 2026 through April 7th, 2026. And 10.3 Matsu Borough Planning Commission agendas from March and April of 2026.
Is there any discussion by the commission?
Commissioner Lanchell, I guess since the planner's not available, this would probably be a good question for the attorney. On the code violations, I was trying to remember, we've had discussions earlier about what is going to be on this list, what is allowable on the violations list in the process to protect everybody. For the last, 4 or 5 meetings now, it has been blank. Is that telling us there has been no violations, or is this telling us they haven't been resolved?
I think the violations, all the violations go on the list. I believe that that is appropriate under the code. It's just not for discussion. It's just an itemized list of the violations. That way, if a violation is, and I cannot remember, I think we may have moved to violations outside an appeal period, which would be appropriate, but we should, I don't know if they're not on the list because there just haven't been any violations in this period of time, or so I'm not really sure of the answer, but we'll get the answer to you and report back. But generally, the list can contain the violations and the violations that go out, the notices that go out. We just, at the commission, can't weigh in or discuss them because the commission hears appeals of violations. So it's another one of those odd, that it's important that the commission protects the objective, neutral decision-making role it plays on that. In that.
Okay, but a blank report is telling us there's no violations.
I don't know.
Which
That's what I'm, I know that, but it also could be telling you that the department is working very, very hard and this is not something that they've been able to get to. So I just don't know the answer to that. I don't want to make claims for them. I don't know if, Julia, do you know if the list is blank because we haven't issued any violations, or if it is blank simply because we just haven't got to getting those organized and compiled?
I can speak very frankly, so that the violations that are filed in Citizen Serve by Code Compliance. They use, the Code Compliance departments use the same Citizen Serve platform. But what that tells you is that no code violations have been filed in Citizen Serve by Code Compliance. That doesn't necessarily mean that there has been no violations. It just means that there hasn't been anything that has been filed.
Oh, well, there you go.
I know for a fact several's been filed on the cities.
So, and perhaps our code compliance officer would be better able to speak on that, because I know that there are different levels of violations as well. If it's just here's a warning, fix it, that might not end up on an actual violation list. So, but that is the extent that I could speak on those.
Right, and I understand the code compliance. I feel sorry for him. I really do. It's time the city gives him some help. Please, Councilman. But it would be a good question for them to get it clarified.
And it
What
sounds
is
like
the meaning of this list, and is that actually necessary?
okay. And we'll talk to, I believe there's a provision in code that requires the disclosure of the violation into the commission so that it's on a list, or, so I think that, but I need to review, don't hold me to that. So that's my memory. But I do think another option, because I think it may be, especially if it's filed on Citizen Serve, might be a really onerous process of it getting entered and then it getting reported on the list too. It might be a good, perhaps there's situation where the code compliance officer can issue sort of a report and take on that responsibility too. Or maybe that's an awful like, but at least we can talk about it with the acting planner and see what he
We
says.
appreciate it.
Yeah, Chair Seals, I seem to remember years ago, where the reason this was put on the planning commission's agenda for meetings was another way to have it on the record.
Oh, another way to provide notice. Interesting. Well, that makes a lot of sense because that, is.
That's what I
we're not
remember.
Discussing it, but it's part of that,
Yes.
that packet material that is available to the public.
Any further discussion? We now move on to audience comments. Okay, with no one wishing to speak, we now move on to comments. Will the active city planner / Eric Shaw, Public Works, give us some comments tonight?
I don't have any comments prepared. Happy to answer any questions you might have, but thank you for tonight.
Does the city attorney have any comments?
I had no comment.
Commissioner Brown, do you have any comments?
No. Nothing from Commissioner Brown.
Commissioner Lengyel, do you have any comments this evening?
Yes, coming through town today, I drove past the park, and every time I do, I think, isn't this wonderful? To me, that is a jewel for this city. We've been involved in that. We were part of the original volunteers that put the little pieces together. And to see how the city has taken it over and really improved it and continues to improve it and take care of it. And I know Pat is just smiling down on this city. So thank everybody that's been involved in that.
Commissioner Stafford, any comments this night?
No comments.
Chair Seals, I have no comments this evening.
Holy smokes.
I appreciate, well, Isaac left, or I thank him again. And I do have a comment. Mr. Council Member, Private Citizen, I really appreciate you coming to our meeting. It doesn't always work out the way we want it to, but it's public participation. And that is one of the most important things we can have at our meetings, is public participations.
Amen.
So with no further business at hand, I'm adjourning the meeting unless an objection is raised. Hearing no objection, the meeting is adjourned at 7:08 p.m.